हरे कृष्णा जय जगन्नाथ. असत्यम अप्रतिष्ठम ते जगद आहुर अनीश्वरम अपरस्पर संभूतम किमन्यत कामहैतुकम. This is from Bhagavad Gita, 16th chapter, shloka number 8. The translation is, they say that this world is unreal, that there is no foundation and that there is no God. It is produced of sex desire and has no cause other than lust. So if you are speaking on Bhagavad Gita or any other spiritual matter, the general idea of atheistic principle is that there is no God, because in the name of God there are a lot of atrocities which are being happening. If there was God, God should have come in front and he should have helped them. So there is no God. So who speaks like this? There is no God. So in the 16th chapter, Krishna is giving qualities of Sura Asura Janaha. So in that people who are having no faith on God, so if you ask how creation is happening, they are saying that it is asatyam, because this world itself is not real, and there is no foundation and there is no God in control. You see, there are many things which happen in life and we see that it's happening without my control. So what is happening without your control? Then, if there is so much of problems, if God can help us, there is no cause, there is no effect, no controller, no purpose. So why should we believe in God? So they say this cosmic manifestation, how it has come? It is just because of action and reaction. And they do not think that the world was created by God. So for them there is no difference between spirit and matter. So according to them everything is void, and whatever manifestation exists, it is existing due to our ignorance. So this is what they say. So they say life is a dream. You should enjoy the dream instead of thinking that there is sin, there is good and bad. Because whatever is good for you is bad for me, and whatever is bad for me may be good for you. So one man's food is another man's poison. So sometimes it is said, it is better ignorance is bliss. It is folly to be wise. Why? Because if you know something is true, if you feel that now there is God, or after this life I have to again take birth, or again I have done so much of activities, I may have to suffer. It's better than if we say there is no God, there is no accountability, so I can do whatever I like. This is called rabbit philosophy. Or a cat. Rabbit, what it does is, when there is some animal which comes to attack it, it will close the eyes and sits silent. Same thing with a cat which is drinking milk also in the kitchen. It is closing its eyes and it is drinking. When somebody comes to beat it also, it thinks that if I close my eyes, then the problem is resolved. So there are some more animals, like one bird which is that owl. Owl always closes its eyes. Owl is not as wise as it is spoken in the stories. If you ask him to open the eyes, there is sun now, You please open the eyes, you see Mr. Owl. So Mr. Owl doesn't want to see the sunlight. So people who don't want to see sunlight, what will you show him? So we have to know what is life, not from people who don't believe in the existence. So it is a philosophy. Nastika means one who doesn't believe in existence. So theism and atheism. So in the atheistic philosophy, there is also a philosophy that is made up by some people. If I am walking on the road and the police will come and stop because there is a signal, red signal, and I say, oh, I don't believe in traffic, I will just walk away. The police will stop and fine. If I say I don't believe in traffic, does not mean that there is no traffic police. Similarly, if I say there is no laws of God, no, you cannot escape, you are forced to get into birth, disease, old age, you are going through all of these things, then how can you say there is nothing? So, to believe in God or not is not a choice. To believe in God is a requirement for a most important sane person. Because until you are insane, you will never reject the laws of God. Just like a good citizen, he will not reject the laws of the state. Until he is punished and put into the jail. So there are foolishly they think that, oh, there is nobody. So but when they are beaten and put into the jail, then they understand, oh, there is some power. So spirituality also is not to be known by atheistic principles. There is a atheistic principles, there is theistic principles. Even among scientists, there are scientists who believe in science in connection with existence of God. You see actually how scientists also, sometimes we feel the Indian educated class that these Vedas, these Puranas, they are all Indian philosophy. So they also claim that there was some ancient technology, like there are many Hindu scholars who also say there was Pushpaka Viman in Ramayana time, so there was already aeroplane. So these are all there in the Puranas. Like Ashwatthama, he released Brahmastra at the end of Mahabharata. Parikshit was Abhimanyu's child in the womb, and his father has already died, and he was the only existing who was not even born in the womb of his mother. So Ashwatthama wanted to kill the child, so he released the Brahmastra. So Krishna entered into the womb of Uttara and he destroyed that Brahmastra. So this Brahmastra is considered to be like a nuclear weapon. So when one nuclear weapon you throw on one place, again it cannot be retaliated. But in the previous Vedic period, they knew how to put an atomic weapon, and if a person cannot know how to retaliate, the other person can retaliate. So that was the power of the nuclear weapons of the Vedic era. And those times the mantras were the weapons. It was not made up of gross chemicals. The nuclear energy could be produced by mantras. Mantras were produced from the mind. Manastrayate iti mantraha. So they were very advanced because they were having subtle energy. Certainly they could influence others. They never required big laboratories. Their laboratories were meditation. They could meditate, they could close their eyes, and by practice they knew how to have weapons. They used to learn from their guru. So these are all there in Bhagavad and different Puranas, how there were nuclear weapons, how there were aeroplanes. So when people hear this, the educated class, they say, yes, India had a very great history. So we as followers of Hinduism, we appreciate so nicely. But a few class of people, they say they have objection to it because you are talking from some story books. Please say me about today. What are Indians doing? How much science has improved from Indians? So generally people say Aryabhatta made zero. That's how calculations are happening. So when this is told, yeah, see, a lot of research has been done even by modern Indians. Aryabhatta, that was a formula he gave to the world, zero. So that's how we have, the whole science is developing. But still some people have objection. Indians are given only zero. So the American Indians who are there, they are doing research. You people simply boast yourself. You are going to the other planet, moon landing and all was done by Americans and Russians, not by Indians. Like this they criticize Indians. They always feel that anything connected to India, we are not advanced and we should accept it. True, we accept we are not very advanced nation, but still Indian scientists have worked hard, not only now that after we are having ISRO research, and not only now, there are researches which have been done in the past, but it was not recognized. So this is a world of politics. When Britishers were ruling India itself, there were a lot of scientific research, very big scientists of India. One was Jagdish Chandra Bose. He was not recognized. We have only one Nobel Prize in India for Sir C.V. Raman. Otherwise, anybody who tried to go in the British India, if they find out something and they do a research, they will be misled or they will not be recognized by the British government. They always used to give preference to the Britishers. So Dr. Jagdish Chandra Bose, and I think there was one more scientist, Marconi, I don't know exactly his name. So he went and told about his research to his friend as in a friendly manner, and next day he went and declared that he has done that research. It didn't end only with that scientist. Sir C.V. Raman's cousin was there. Many other scientists were there. There was one scientist, Dr. Chandrasekhar. So there were decades of experience. How when the Indian scientists, they discuss something with their colleagues or some senior scientists, they used to steal the ideas. They were not recognized. The Nobel Prize was given to Hitler, but it was not given to many great scientists of India. So we may argue, oh, what did Indian scientists do? No, there are history where Indian scientists have achieved. You can go and do research. So we cannot put anything connected to India, either modern Indian ideas or ancient Indian ideas, that Indians are all worst. and everything West is best. So this is the way anything connected to the atheistic means they feel whatever is coming from the West is all beautiful. So we have nothing against West or East. But this kind of tendency to think that everything of India is bad is actually in the heads of few atheistic people, because they feel India is a nation of culture, and the moment you say India, you have to connect that India to culture, and then you have to believe in God. So better you say, I don't believe in God, I don't believe in anything in India. Indians are known to be doing good for others. That is their quality. They don't want to go and harm anybody else. In Utkala is ancient Odisha. Even now Odisha is also called as Utkala, Kalinga, Desha. In the Skanda Purana, when Mahalakshmi, Mother Lakshmi, she appears in front of Yamaraj, because Yamaraj was puzzled that this Shri Kshetra, this Puri Shri Kshetra is such a wonderful place that whoever are there in that place, they will not be affected by sin. So he thought, what will happen to me? So Mother Lakshmi said, "O Yamaraja, oh my dear Yama, please forget about your influence in this Shri Kshetra. This Shri Kshetra, Purushottama Kshetra is such a pious place, you have no influence here. So this Utkala Kshetra as Jagannath Puri, and the Lord Himself explains that this place is such a divine place, and this place of Utkala is so great, and the people who stay in Utkala, they are not ordinary people. So this Bharata Desha, Utkala Desha, these are all not ordinary places. They are all very special places. They are divine places. They are very ideal character. The Skanda Purana explains the inhabitants of Utkala to be very generous, very handsome, very good at heart. So in this place of Shri Kshetra, where this Bharata is also, we are part of the Bharata Bhumi. So such a great place, Jagannath Puri. But there will be always demons. So there are always two classes of people, the theistic class and the atheistic class. So the atheistic class of people, they find every opportunity to forget God. So there was one demonic, one king in the ancient India. He was known as Kala Pahad. So he was offended by some priests of Jagannath temple. Ancient means not too ancient, some hundreds of years back. So what he did was, he attacked the Jagannath temple and he destroyed lot of properties when he came to Utkala, and he stole the Jagannath deity and tried to destroy it. So the few priests, the devotees of Lord Jagannath, they collected the remnants, the Brahma Padartha, which is nothing but the Lord only. So the Lord again, when the Navakalevara was done, again Jagannath was installed. So because of some insult, he was ready to attack Jagannath's temple. So there are very atheistic people like Aurangzeb. When he was in Agra. Actually, you know how these Muslim kings, they used to arrest their own father. So Shah Jahan, he built Taj Mahal, and later his son actually took over his kingdom, and Shah Jahan was sitting far away, like in the house prison or wherever he was jailed, and he was just seeing his Taj Mahal. That's all, the whole life. So this person was so envious of his own father. So why not others? So the same kingdom, Man Singh was a minister, Hindu minister. He had helped to build the Radha Govindji temple in Vrindavan. So it was a 7-storied temple, and above that there was a lamp. So that lamp, there was somebody, he could notice that lamp during a festival, and somebody told this is from Vrindavan. So he became so jealous that he ordered that temple should be destroyed. So he sent his army men, and 3 floors of that temple were destroyed, and remaining 3 floors they tried to bomb, and there was something like an earthquake and they could not do, and they left. So people were very jealous, atheistic class. So people who try to destroy other properties, not that they are from other religion or this religion, they are actually atheistic class. A devotee of the Lord doesn't have any religion. His only religion is to love God. Dharmastu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. Dharma means the orders are given by God. There is only one religion, dharma, and only one irreligion, that is adharma. So there may be people who may be wearing a dress of a sadhu, but he may be following adharma, so he is a nastika, he is a asura. So generally people, they think that, oh, now this religion people are fighting with that religion people have anti, so where is God? It is said, Paro Dharma means, what is Paradharma? What is the highest Dharma means? One who can get unalloyed devotion to the Lord in the heart, who develops love for God. That is real religion, that is real Dharma. Our Sanatana Dharma is to connect the Sanatana Atma to the Sanatana Paramatma. So this is Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana Dharma is not only to identify I am Hindu and do whatever we want, nonsense, and then say I am a Hindu, I can do whatever I like. So there are adharmic practices, Nastika practices, and we claim that to be in the name of God. We kill animals. So this is not Dharma. So it may be in Hindu name or Muslim name. The real Muslim is one who has to follow Quran. A real Hindu is one who has to follow his Bhagavad Gita. A real Christian means one who has to follow his Bible. So people who don't follow anything and just have any one trademark, one seal of Hindu, Muslim, Christian, that is not Dharma. But Bhagavad Gita, Krishna never says, I have come to establish Christian Dharma, Muslim Dharma. He is not saying that. Krishna is saying, I have come to establish Dharma. He never told Christian Dharma, Muslim Dharma. So the real Dharma is given by the Lord itself. The whole Bhagavad Gita never speaks about Hindu religion, Muslim religion, Christian religion. It's only speaking on Dharma and Adharma. Sura, Asura. Atheism and Theism. So we are following such a great philosophy of Bhagavad Gita. We are following the Vedic Sanatana Dharma. So we should become really followers of Bhagavad Gita and get people out of this illusion. Generally people, they get bewildered. I have no understanding of religion. I don't like Christianity, so I will change to Muslim Dharma. So somebody, they don't like Muslim, so I become Hindu. So just by changing the dress of Hindu to Muslim or Muslim to Hindu, you have not changed your Dharma. What is Dharma? Dharma is to do seva to God. You should develop love for God. When you develop love for God means you develop love for all the living beings around you. Your real humanity. You will not cut the throat of a goat or of a cow in the name of any religion and say there is no Atma for goat. This is what some people say, that they don't have religion, so we can cut off that and we can give Bali. Our God will become happy. Lord will never become happy when his own children are being killed. We are human beings. As human beings, we have some rights. Similarly, animals also have rights to stay in this world. Jivo jivasya jivanam. The animals have right to kill another animal of its own strength, based on the struggle for existence and survival of the fittest. The nature has made how to live, how to die. They know how to live and how to die. Human being doesn't have to maintain slaughterhouses to think that anyway, if I don't kill animal means what will happen. So he doesn't have to worry. We are herbivorous and we also have 2 carnivorous teeth for people who want to eat meat. So we are not after meat eating or no meat eating, we are after following Dharma. Dharma means you have to love the other living entities also who are around you. You cannot give pain to somebody more than it is allowed for you to give. When there is husband and wife can lord over husband, or husband will fight with wife. If it is for the benefit of each other, that kind of pain is acceptable in any dharma. It's a common sense. We try to help each other, so there may be some shouting on each other. That's why husband and wife fight was not taken very seriously. Not that husband is a crooked fellow and wife has to tolerate all the pain, whatever the husband is doing, nor wife is very independent. She does anything she likes and she says women is independent, man is independent, you do whatever you like, I like whatever I do. So both are bad actually. As human beings, we not only require to have understanding with other human beings for business, you also require to have understanding between husband and wife, children, neighbors, everyone. So this understanding how to have respect for everybody. We should respect each and every living entity, including our family members. A husband can respect a wife can respect an husband. There is nothing wrong in it. This feeling of hatred for man or for women, both are bad. In humanity, when you love God, you love everybody. That is real spirituality. The real religion never teaches that you should hate your children, your family, your country, or you have to kill other religion people, or you have to kill yourself. by torturing your body. This is not real religion. The real devotion to God is when you can remember God and do your duty properly. Yat karoshi, yat juhosi, yad ashnasi, yes tapasyasi kaunteya kurusva madarpanam. If you are a scientist, you do your work. If you are a good charitable person, you do charity. If you are a tapasvi, you do tapasya. But don't do tapasya to kill 100 people. Tapasya means you have to take some voluntarily pain. Like I don't like to get up in the morning to go to the college or to do exercise. No, you have to voluntarily accept it. So this kind of voluntarily acceptance is recommended in the Vedic literatures. That's how there is weekly fasting, Ekadashi fasting. So that today is Ekadashi means today we don't take regular food. Today is we follow some festival, tapasya, navaratri or any festival. So when you do fasting, your body is demanding, oh give me food. Your tongue is asking, give me, give me, give me. Your eyes are saying, you see some beautiful objects. Your ears are saying, no you do. You hear also music. So this kind of detox also is recommended even in the modern medical science. When you take too much of food, you are overindulging in it. So extravagancy, this is called as extravagancy. If you eat too much and try to have extravagancy in your life, then you will not be happy. If you take one sweet, one rasgulla, it is tasty. You say, ah, so nice. Second rasgulla, yeah, very nice. You want more? Yeah, yes, one more you take. But if you take more than 25 rasgulla, the same rasgulla which was so tasty, now it will become very bitter. Oh no, I don't want. I don't want. See, anything in this world has a saturation point. If you want salt, you have to use exact quantity. Then the recipe will be very tasty. You like, oh, very nice today. Tadka has come today. My sabjis, my curries are very tasty. Little more salt, not good. Less salt is a little salt is less. So even salt, sweet, chili, sometimes people, there may be little variations of taste. Some tongue will like little more salt or chili. But it cannot be 1 kg salt more, 1 kg. The chili powder is more. You cannot be tasty, feeling tasty. Like AC, somebody wants more, somebody wants less. But it cannot be like I can get into full minus 0 degree. No, human body has limitation. Each person may have some differences. So these differences will be there because that is where one man's food is another man's poison. But not that a human being is totally different from each other, that they cannot even survive each other. So that's why you require civilization. When you are civilized, you accept the existence of God and you know that you cannot take everything to be granted. Just like the law of the state, we know how it is controlled. Similarly, you cannot control the planets. You cannot control seasons. So these are all happening by higher arrangement. So generally what they conclude, this atheistic class of people, is that there is no controller. But in the Bhagavad Gita, it is saying, Maya Dakshena Prakriti. The Prakriti, this material nature, is controlled by a controller. Otherwise, how every day from the sun comes from the east and sets in the west without any arrangement. For a TV program to come, there are people sitting behind and working what time it should come. Sometimes even after doing everything, in the television channel they will say, we are sorry, there is some problem, technical issue, we are sorry for the inconvenience. In spite of so much of planning, so there may be some launching of a rocket and suddenly it will be failure. So they are sorry. Even in spite of so many people being behind any project, there is failure. But there is not even one day failure of sun coming from the east and going away to the west. The seasons are changing. There is a nature which is working so systematically. So how can be there something atheistic view? We have heard some stories about some scientists like Newton. He had an atheistic friend and he used to always argue, where is God, where is God? There were theistic scientists also like Newton, Einstein. They were all theistic scientists. They used to believe in God. Not that because they learn some mathematical formulas, they will not say there is no God. They all were believers of God. They used to say, we are doing scientific research to understand God. So Newton one day invited his friend to his laboratory, and when his friend entered the laboratory, he saw a model of a solar system. It was all floating. The planets were moving and sun is there and earth is there. Very beautiful made model. So then Newton came from his inner chamber and he greeted his friend. So his friend asked, very beautifully done, Newton, very nice. This arrangement of this solar system is very nicely arranged. So Newton said, oh, I don't know how this came up, it came automatically. So his friend said, hey, you are joking. How this can come automatically? You have made and you have kept the model, and why are you saying that it came automatically? So Newton said, no. In the night I slept, I kept all the particles here and I slept. Morning I got up, I saw everything is automatically became solar system. So Newton then told, when his friend didn't agree finally, so he told, you see, for my solar system model itself, if it requires a scientist behind it working, for the real solar system to exist, without a supreme scientist, is it possible for it to exist like that? So this is how there were theistic real scientists who knew that this whole world cannot be controlled without any mathematical equations, without any formulas, because everything is so systematic in this world. You can state the theory of thermodynamics means what, how things work in this world. If cricket ball is thrown in a particular amount of speed, what time it will go and reach to the cricket bat, and how when he is hitting, at what force it is going, means it can, everything is, we can calculate, there are mathematical equations. So science is worked on equations. It's like Newton was sitting and suddenly one day apple fell on his head. Then he understood, oh, there is something running, and he made the theory of gravity. Not that because Newton made that formula, then this equation started of gravity. There is always gravity, but one day Newton found out that there is something theory and he made that formula. Similarly, the scientist who is making this formula, when he does a discovery, he knows that he has not invented that. So that's why they used to call discovery. It is already existing I am not newly making anything. This is real science. The Vedic science was always filled with theism, where they could achieve anything material, and they used to offer it to the service of the society. Not that they will get some little power and so much get carried away by power. You see, the atheistic class of people, if they get little power or little mathematics, little science, they start questioning the existence of the authority above them. This is common even in the Vedic time. In the Puranas, there were asuras. When they get power, they don't know what to do. So there was one asura, Banasura. He used to have so many hands. There are many asuras who have a lot of hands, and when they have that hands, they don't know what to do with that power. So they used to break the mountains with their hands. So he didn't know how to control his power because he is having energy, doesn't know how to deal with it. There was one more a gorilla. He is from different yugas also he was there. There was Vivida, this gorilla name was Vivida, and he was a demon in a gorilla shape. He was very big and gigantic. So one time he came to Dwaraka, starting attacking the people around the villages. He was very strong. He'll capture people in his hand, and just like some insects are put into fire, or just like some birds come and catch the insects and put them into some holes, like that he'll capture people and put them into some caves and close them and enjoy their dying. People who are very demonic, they like pain of others. So what he used to do like this kind of torture. So when once he saw Balarama and Balarama's friends, so he started teasing Balarama's friends. So there were a lot of Balarama's friends started teasing that women. So Balarama became very angry, and there was a big fight, and later Balarama killed this gorilla. So he was a very big demonic gorilla. He was killed. There are many people who get little power, they get puffed up. But if you see the same quality of strength or even more power than them, even great devotees of the Lord, they had. Like Bhima, the Bhima had 10,000 elephant strength. Very powerful. One elephant attack on any festival, if you see any elephant attack videos during some festival ceremonies or on the road, so terrific. People run away. Whereas 10,000 elephant, you can imagine what is his strength. Very, very powerful. Bhima, he will never fight with anybody until he is been ordered by his elder brother or mother. This is a person of wisdom. They will not attack anybody, even though they are very powerful. They are theistic people. The believers of God does not mean that they will do any nonsense and say, God has, for the name of God I did all this. The lovers of God are not violence lovers. They will not create any violence on others until it is their dharma. To protect dharma, only they will go and fight with somebody. So this is one more difference between the atheistic class of people and the theistic class of people. Sura and Asura. Generally, when we hear Sura, Asur, we think Asura means, demon means, he should have some, horns on his head, some tusks near his face. But Kamsa was not like that. Kamsa was not appearing like a demon with some tusk and all. His sister was Devaki, and her son was Krishna. So he cannot be having some different features. He is also from the same dynasty. But he is an atheist. He wanted to kill Krishna. Why he wanted to kill his mother, Devaki? So whatever love he was showing to Devaki, it ended the moment it starts affecting his life. This one more quality of demon is, he will show love and affection only when he is in convenience. The devotees of the Lord, they don't give up relationship at any time of life, in any difficult situations. They always protect the other person. Now you see, the Pandavas are in trouble. Not that they stopped protecting their mother, their wife. Whenever they were in difficulties, they were always there for protection. Even when they were put into that firehouse, when they were about to get killed, they had always Krishna with them, even in their difficulties. That is the quality of a devotee, that he never complains. The Pandavas never complained to Krishna, Krishna, you are our friend, we are being put into so many difficulties. What is the use? You are there with us. No. Actually, in the Kunti Maharani prayers, she is praying to Krishna. Krishna, there were a lot of difficulties we faced. Vipataha, there are a lot of difficulties we faced. Let the difficulties again come to us, again and again. Why? Because when the difficulties were there, you were there with us. Now, after this all difficulties are got over, now you are going away from us. You are going back to Dwaraka. So she is praying, please let the difficulties come back. Shri Krishna Krishna Saka Krishna Rishabhamani Drik. She is praying, you are Krishna Saka, you are Arjuna's friend. Please stay back. So Krishna was always obliged for his devotion to his devotees, to pacify his devotees, Pandavas, Kunti Maharani. He stayed for a few days before going to Dwarka after the Kurukshetra war. So the devotees of the Lord are always loyal to Lord and the other devotees. To the common men, they are very merciful. So this atheistic class of people, they don't care for their own family. They are ready to do anything for their family members. Like we heard about some kings, how they wish to kill their own family members. Some ancient experiences of some queens. You are reading some article. Some queens who were so atheistic, and they were like killing their own son. There was one professor, in that article it says, how he was very jealous of his students. He was a great university professor somewhere in America, and he was well known for his teaching, and he was always, people were hankering, I want to go and become his student. But one day they found a lot of dead bodies in his compound wall. So they were seeing, then they found out that this person was murdering the students, whoever were his students, and he would like to sleep with the dead bodies next to him. So what is the value of his education? So if you cannot become a scholar just by having your academic degrees, you require culture, you require honesty, you require truthfulness, you require mercy. So this is the quality of a really educated class of person. That is what Vedic education used to be giving to people. That is what Bhagavad Gita teaches. Not that you become a great scholar and you are a number one atheist. In the history of the world, there is never an atheist who has done great good things to people. Although people say that there are religious wars, in the name of religion people kill each other. They are never actually religious war. They are only fought in the name of religion. They are not dharma yuddha. They are not made for dharma. But if you see all the irreligious wars, people killing each other, bombing each other, enviousness, jealousy, these are all leading to people's illusion. Everything is cheating in this world. We were seeing some products, how in the tomato ketchup, what is sold in the American continent, there is really no tomato itself in that. See how much cheating. That tomato ketchup has no tomato. What is it made up of? It is made up of some beef, some flesh, and there are some insects. They call it a natural color. There are colors which come. They write it natural color. And what is that natural color means? It is coming from killing some red insects. So we are all very advanced. And what are we getting advanced in? Pollution, water pollution. In Boston, they are making a lot of laws how to avoid pollution. In big cities in New York, in different countries of America, they want to be freedom from pollution. What has this pollution come from? It has come from our own scientific research. We are inventing a lot of chemicals and allowing all that chemicals to get inside water, and that water is entering into oceans. There is ocean also is becoming polluted. We are producing by our scientific technology plastic, and plastic has become such a evil to the world. It is polluting the world. So whatever we do in creation of God, which is anti to the nature, will react back on the humanity only. 500 years back, this technology was not there. Weren't people happy that time? They were more happy, they were more nature friendly. Everything was, now if we get a good food, we say it is not refined oil, it's a very good oil, it's a cold press oil. 50 years back everything was cold press oil. Today we are talking on cold press oil. We are speaking on whole wheat flour. 50 years back everything was whole wheat flour only. There was no element of maida much. So now whatever we are saying as very highly good quality materials were 50 years back naturally available for people. See, we increased our technology, we made products in such a way that now we are not able to eat proper food also. We created food colors and now we are saying that food colors are not good. We are using refined oil and we are saying it was good for health. 15 years back every advertisement is refined oil is so good. Then how come the science has suddenly changed and now we are saying refined oil is cause for cancer, for heart problems, so use cold press oil. But the Vedic knowledge always says that you be nature friendly only. They don't say that you add chemicals, and when chemicals become more, then you become again nature friendly. They are always nature friendly. The Indian knowledge is not how much science we have developed, whether Aryabhatta developed or Jagdish Chandra Bose developed. They have developed so much of science. Even the modern ISRO researcher, they are doing a lot of modern science. But is this what only we have to give to the modern world? Is this what only we have to give to our Western world, who are all suffering without this knowledge? The Indian wisdom, the Vedic wisdom, was much more greater than only research of some missions, some oil or some technology. Indians had higher wisdom. How to get connected to the higher nature, how to get connected to God. The whole world is in confusion. They don't know which direction they are going. So Bhagavad Gita is Vedic wisdom. It can give direction to people. Don't become atheistic. By being atheistic, nobody in this world has been benefited. Maybe it's some temporarily some profit for some people to avoid following some rules and regulations. But the Vedic wisdom teaches how by surrendering to God, how you will get all good qualities. And where is God? How to understand God is all mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita. Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja. Dharma means ekam sharanam vraja. You have to surrender. You have to take shelter of one person, one God. So that God is not Hindu God, Muslim God. That God is a supreme personality of Godhead. Parabrahma paramdama paramam pavitram bhavan purusham shashvatam divyam adidevam ajam vibhum. Arjuna is saying to Krishna that you are the same Parabrahma. So who has told? Maybe because they are friends, they are discussing each other. No, it's not because of friends they are saying. Narada, Asito, Vyasa. These are all told by Narada, Asita, Vyasa. So Krishna is recognized as a supreme Parabrahman, not by Arjuna or by just friendship. It has been declared by great acharyas. That's how we worship the Lord. So when the same Lord is worshipped in different names, it is the same Lord. He can be worshipped as Allah or as the Supreme Christ. So, just like the Jesus Christ, he always used to say, my Father in heaven. He never said, I am God. He said, I am the Son of God. And when our acharyas who are going to the Western world, like our Acharya Srila Prabhupada, when he was meeting the people in the West, so he used to say how Christ word comes from the Greek word called Christos or Christas. And the Christas come from the Sanskrit word Krishna. And just like the father name is there at the end of any Indian child, generally they keep like that in Indian names. Similarly, Jesus Christ, Christ is the name of God and Jesus was his son. So, Srila Prabhupada, when he went to the Western world, he said, people already accept Jesus as a son of God, and now we are presenting our Supreme Lord, who is Krishna, Parabrahman. So, this Jagannath, the Supreme Lord, Krishna, he is not only God meant for Hindus. He is only the Allah. He is only being worshipped by great devotees. Like Salve was a great Muslim devotee. He used to worship Lord Jagannath, not that he got converted from Muslim to become a Hindu. He was a Muslim. He never changed his name from Salbeg to some other name. He was Salbeg only. His father was Lalbeg, he was Salbeg. But he accepted Jagannath as most dear Lord. So, that same Allah, that same Christ, he is the same Jagannath. So, this Jagannath, the accepting Lord Jagannath by any part of the world does not mean that now they have to change from Christianity to become Hindu. Just like from somebody from India go to America or United Kingdom to become English scholar or some technical scholar. Similarly, this Vedic knowledge can be studied by people all over the world. Like Germany people, they study Sanskrit literature because they find technology in it. But it's not only just meant for technology. It is a path of life. It is a path of knowledge. For so many people who are confused. There are so many gods, we say. No, there is only one God, Supreme Lord. He can be called in various names, but He is the same Lord. He is the same Parabrahma. Eko hi bahunam yo vidatati kaman. These are all statements made in the Vedas. That there is only one Lord who is supplying for all the living entities their need. Either for the ant or for the elephant in the forest. We are not going and giving food for the ant in the room, nor we are able to supply for elephants in the forest food. The same Supreme Lord is supplying. So when we understand this great knowledge, there will be no confusion. We will not get difficulty. Oh, I am failure in my education. I am not able to succeed properly in my life. So let me commit suicide and die. This is not what is required. Now students, when they don't achieve their success in life, sometimes they commit suicide. There are a lot of cases in the past where there is a lot of parents' pressure, peers' pressure, social pressure, where people are not able to cope up with the pressures and the student commits suicide. So this is not for, life is not meant for getting some social name and fame. Life is meant for getting higher happiness. Brahma Sukham. This body gives only Jadananda. This body cannot give Brahmananda. And as Atma, you cannot enjoy this world. That's why as much as people want to enjoy this world, either by material satisfaction of seeing movies or enjoying men, women, whatever you do, you will get Jadananda. Jadananda means material, sensual happiness. But our real happiness is Brahmananda. Because we are soul, and your sukha can be always with the higher sukha. And this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, Sura Asura Ganaha, is discussed today, where we cannot be atheistic just because we are advanced in science or we become advanced in some mathematics, or just because we learn some English language and we have some logic By logic you cannot prove there is no God. So there will be some other bigger logician who will come and prove there is God. Again one more logician will come and say there is no God. So this is a never ending process. But there is a process how to understand any knowledge. Just like you go to the university to take medical education or a technical education, even for Vedic knowledge, you cannot go and learn about God with some roadside fellow or a person who is simply sitting and claiming I am God and say that I am a sadhu, I will teach you. No. You have to go and learn knowledge with a person who has learned knowledge with one more qualified person. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. You have to ask questions and take evam parampara praptam. You have to learn knowledge from parampara, and this parampara knowledge, just like you read books, Einstein book of quantum mechanics, although Einstein is not in front of us, when you read Einstein book, you know you are learning the same thing from Einstein. So now, where can we go and search for God? We don't have anybody. No, we have Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita are words of wisdom given by Krishna, the Supreme Lord. So by reading Bhagavad Gita, if you have any confusion how to lead your life, you will get wisdom of knowledge. So let's learn Bhagavad Gita and also teach to our friends who are in need of knowledge, not only in India, any part of the world. If you take the wisdom of Bhagavad Gita, you will be honored. A person with principles is honored as a gentleman all over the world. He is a gentleman, a person with principles. A person with no character is not valued even with any great qualification. He may be praised temporarily by a cheating class of people who will cheat him later when he doesn't have that money or when he doesn't have that qualities. But a real friendship, real principles, a person who follows, he will always be honored. Maybe temporarily he will be punished because it's a world where real talent is not recognized. But even now, a person of great principles, a lady, a woman of high ideal character, chastity is honored. A prostitute is not valid. A woman with not a good character, nobody would like to marry. A man will go after 100 prostitutes, but he wants to marry means he will only want a good girl. They are very selfish. He only wants to see that girl is very, very nice, very gentle. She has not mixed up with other men. A girl will talk about so much of independence, but the same girl, when she is searching for a good husband, she will see my husband should not have mixed with other women. He should be a good character. Why these things are required? Because naturally these characters, we all require a soul. This is the inherent nature. We all want gentleness. That is because we are part and parcel of a higher quality. We are not only this body with a temporary nature. These are the teachings of Bhagavad Gita and the Vedas. So we will learn more about this Bhagavad Gita. Hare Krishna, Jai Jagannath.